Hi, Carl here from GlassCast and welcome to another countertop tutorial. In this video I'm going to be focusing specifically on the colours and blending techniques to create this beautiful pink stone effect using the Rose Quartz Countertop Kit. All of the other information you'll need, such as preparing your work area, is in our main countertop tutorial. So make sure you watch that alongside this video, but for now, as I say, I'm going to be focusing on creating this particular look. Now this really is a fun effect to play around with. You can turn the volume up on the colours and create a more vibrant, punchy look that would look great in a beauty salon, or you could go the complete opposite direction, tone it down to create a more subtle, delicate effect that would look great in any home. The rose quartz effect is achieved by using two different shades of slightly sparkled pink, which are blended together on the countertop. We then trace in thin details of a darker pink and a delicate gold, which are layered in and disturbed with a hairdryer to create these beautiful, realistic veins. Now the rose quartz kit is going to contain everything you need to complete this look. So it'll include a super white pigment, Arctic Pearl shimmer, and it'll also have a tomato red and polished gold pigment. The kit also comes with a handy colour card, and that's going to tell you exactly how much resin, pigment and shimmer you're going to need for each stage of the process, making life real easy when you're working on your project. So let's go back to the beginning and I'll show you how to complete this look. So the first thing we're going to do is lay down our primer coat. Each kit contains enough GlassCast free resin for both the primer coat and the main effects pour. Having mixed and pigmented the primer, simply pour it over your surfaces and spread it round with your brush so that you have a consistent coverage. As you can see, while I'm painting this on, the rose quartz uses a heavily pigmented white primer. This will ensure that any existing colours or patterns in your worktop are completely blocked out, and it will provide us with a solid white background from which we can build the rest of the effect. So that's all of the primer coat down. We're just going to leave this to cure off as covered in the main countertop tutorial. First off, we're going to be creating our base mix. Now this will be our lightest shade of pink. From this, we'll be adding additional pigments to build up the rest of the colour palette. Following the ratios on the kit's colour card, weigh in and mix the pigments. As with all of our effects, you do have a bit of creative freedom. Using the colour card as more of a guide, you can of course tailor these shades to whatever you like. You can create a more subtle pale pink or even a more intense pink. It really is that easy to customise these effects. When we're happy with the base colour, we'll add the hardener. The reason we add the hardener after mixing in the pigment is because it helps to reduce the overall time mixed resin would have spent in the pot. From the main countertop tutorial, we know that we'll have about 30 minutes after we add the hardener to get the resin out of the pots and onto the counters. Once mixed thoroughly, double pot your resin and repeat. This extra measure just ensures that your resin is correctly mixed. Now that the resin is completely mixed, we'll decant half of the base mix to make our medium pink. Then we'll separate smaller amounts to create the dark pink and our gold shade. So that's our base mix divided up, ready to start creating our different shades. We're just going to leave this pot here, that's our light pink sorted, and then we're going to start over here with the medium pink, and we're going to create this by adding a few more drops of tomato red. Pigmenting your shades from the same base colour helps to keep all the colours in the same spectrum so that they perfectly complement each other. You'll find that it only takes a few drops of the tomato red to darken the medium pink and dark pink. Also, the polished gold does a really good job at transforming the base colour into a rich metallic gold. So that's our colour palette made up. Let's get these fabulous colours onto the countertop. Begin by pouring about 2/3 of your light pink in patches onto your counter. Then take your medium pink and pour about 2/3 of that in between these islands of the light pink. Use the notch spreader to spread the resin around your worktop until you have a fairly even coverage. We'll now use the brush to give these two shades a quick rough blend. Following your design layout, drizzle thin lines of your dark pink and gold tints. Then, with a brush, gently disturb these lines before marbling with the hairdryer. These details will form the first layer in the effect and will appear to be set below the surface. We don't want to spend too much time developing the effect at this stage, as there's still a lot of resin we want to get out of the pots and onto our worktop. Also, be sure that your hairdryer is on its coldest setting, as we don't want to accelerate the cure. Checking on my time, it's been about 20 minutes since I added the hardener, so let's get the rest of the light and the dark pink out of the pots and begin to develop this final layer in the effect. Again, use your brush to spread and roughly blend these two shades. There's no need to get a perfect, consistent spread. The resin will flow and level itself. We're just helping it along a little at this point. When I'm brushing over the details in the first layer, I'm being gentle and trying not to disturb them too much. Now to replicate cracks and fractures, drizzle thin lines of your dark pink and gold. Then we'll use the hairdryer to soften the details and give them a more realistic, natural appearance. The hairdryer really is a versatile tool when it comes to developing these effects. It gives natural results without having to cover the resin with flammable alcohol or oils. It can be used carefully to steer and direct thinner, more precise details, or used quite forcefully to really mix and blend the colours, creating softer blends. You can also use the hairdryer to marble the light and medium pink areas to create extra features and a more convincing effect. So that's all of the resin onto the counter, and as you can see, we've created a fabulous pink quartz effect. So we're just going to leave this to gel off over the next couple of hours before removing the barrier tape, and then after that the effect will just continue to roll over the front edge, continuing that look. Full details on how to achieve perfect continuous effects over those rolled edges is of course in the main countertop tutorial. So that's it folks, in little under 2 hours of actual work we transformed our old countertops with this beautiful rose quartz effect. So let's take a closer look at some of the detail we've achieved. You can really see now why the effect uses a slightly translucent base mix and how layering the lighter shades over the top of stronger colours really creates visible depth to the countertop. I love the way that in some places the gold accent is only just visible as a subtle tint, and then in other places it seems to come to the surface as part of more distinct veins and fissures in the quartz. I really hope you've enjoyed this video and found it useful, but if the rose quartz effect isn't what you're after, remember we have a number of other countertop kits available at GlassCastResin.com. Comments and likes are very much appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe and click that bell if you want to see more resin tutorials as we make them. All GlassCast countertop kits include all necessary resin, pigment and effects, a video tutorial covering the full installation process, a separate video tutorial specific to that effect, a colour card with measurements and mixes, and any technical support you may need along the way. GlassCast countertop kits are available to buy online at GlassCastResin.com. Ordering is simple and secure with fast delivery available throughout the UK and Europe.